Alright, we're back. Okay, we got to put all the stuff together on this side. Now, here's your chain. Put sprocket and chain. Make sure you got all the 3 rows where they belong. Squeeze it like that. Now, see this clearance here in the tooth right there going back and forth with the chain? That's how much misalignment you can have in your total system. And when you go more than this, then you start bending your chain, twisting your chain, and then it can break. So this does not have a lot of clearance. There's only 25 thou in there at most. That's why I cut that sleeve down to get me closer. So I'm still probably a little short on that number, but it's close. Okay, before you put these together, you want to make sure there's no bad spots, no tight spots. Everything's nice and free. There's no big major gouges. Because when these break, it takes that whole thing over there away and goes bye-bye. The last thing you want to do is you want to look on these rollers in here, these split rollers. Inside here, I look down all 3 rows all the way around, make sure none of them are broken. You'd be surprised how many times you find ones that are broken. So the easiest way to tell this is just to lay it on the bench and just kind of roll them around and look at them. You can usually see them pretty easily if they're bad. So any tight spot in a chain is bad, get rid of it. These chains are over 100 bucks a piece these days, but that costs more than 100 bucks. Okay, it all looks pretty good. Last thing I do is I check the outside, because it could be bad on the outside too. So making sure the chain rolls nice and free as you do that you pick it up to the length to move. It'll move nice and free and even. So that's a test. Every time you're doing something, you're looking at other things. So this chain's really good. I don't think it's very old. It's probably put in very recently. So it's nice and snug, tight, not real loose. That's good. So that's what you want to see, a nice good chain. Now the diamond square link here is the best one. The figure 8 links, they're not as strong. So diamond always worked the best for me on these ones. It's the only diamond chains I use as primary. The rear chains suck, but primaries, they hold it the best. The other brands, I had any luck with. Okay, that was the seal area I just lubed there. So this is ready to go together here on this side. Make sure you're all the way on there like that. All the teeth are engaged. We're good. Oh, if you have a broken tooth or two, you got 34 times 3. That's 102, I think. You can lose a couple here and there, it ain't gonna make no damn difference. Just don't have them 2 right together, either this way or this way. If one's over here, one's over here, one's over there, and one's over here, I don't care. If you have 2 or 3 right together, I got a problem, especially if they're in the same row. So don't worry about a little chip here and there, it ain't gonna kill it. Okay, that's waiting to go together, but not right now. Alright. I'm gonna move on to a clutch hub assembly over here. Okay, that seal seems to be pretty tight, but it looks like it's completely bottomed out all the way in there too deep. It looks like it's harder than hell, and so I don't like it. So I'm going to pull it out and change it. And it is pretty hard. It is in there good though. It definitely does not want to come out. Okay, I'm going to see if I can come on the back side and get underneath it. And I'll just tap with a hammer. Nope, that didn't actually come out. It bent the seal up. Thing's glued in there pretty hard. But that means it doesn't want to come out. That's not good. When they're glued in there like this, they're not coming out very easily. Obviously it's junk now though. So we'll just keep on it until we find a sweet spot where it'll come out. I don't think we're going to have a sweet spot on this one. Yep. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is get the bearing race out of the center there. See if I get it down low enough I can get below it. Like that. I can tap on it just lightly. I don't want to hurt the bearing though, so I got to be careful doing it this way. I don't like beating on my screwdriver with a hammer either. There, it's starting to come out now. See, we're pushing it out through the seal. See, I got the bearing rollers right here. You don't want to be damaging those bearing rollers. If you do, you got to pull this whole mechanism apart. Change out that bearing. Not a fun job. Okay, spacer's out. Seal is not out. We got that out without doing any damage. That's a big plus. Okay, now we got more access to beat on the seal. Get behind it. Make sure you're not beating on the bearing. If you beat on the edge of the bearing and break the bearing, you're in trouble. See, I'm hitting in the right spot. I finally got underneath the damn seal lip. Nope. See, I don't want to bend the basket because it's so thin. If you push too hard down, you can bend the damn thing. There we go. I was hit pretty hard on the seal waste, so I didn't want to do that. Okay, it came out. It did not want to come out, but it's out. So you don't want to be damaging the lip at all. I don't know what this green fungi is in here. I don't like green fungi in my bearings or my seals. Okay, we're going to wipe this out. Figure out what all this junk in here is. Here's your green stuff, whatever that is. Uh-oh. 4 more minutes, it's going to be tomorrow. I'm getting tired of getting work around here done, so I'm going to keep working on it until I get it done. If you notice, I don't get too many interruptions after 10 o'clock. Maybe it was 11 o'clock. Yeah, one of those numbers. Okay, so I got that kind of scraped out a little bit. So I'm going to take my screwdriver and see if there's any loose sealer, glue, crud, whatever. We're going to wipe it with the edge of the screwdriver blade. I'm going to come back and use the rag to get it out again. Still stuff in there. There's some of that gray stuff, or that bronze stuff in there, some kind of sealant. See that wad's up in the bearing right there? That's what I'm trying to get rid of. Don't know what it is. Something. You don't want junk like that inside your bearings, see? It's not quite silicone, but it's kind of similar to it. Bunch of that crap in there. Probably some factory, some fancy aircraft crap probably. Alright, blow the bearing out too, make sure it wasn't in any of that. You want to make sure the bearing can spin like this before you put it in. This has got a new bearing in it. Okay, I'm going to take my clean rag now. See if anything else comes up. Okay, I think we're getting halfway cleared out now. Now this whole seal piece in here, if you look at it, it looks like it's all been ground. It's all bill shaped. It should be straight. I don't know why it's all made like that. Looks like it was damaged and someone repaired it. Don't know. Shouldn't look like that though, I know that. Okay, so here's a seal. Let's see if it's the right one. It looks like it might go on there. And it looks like it might fit in there, so that's a good sign. Appears to be the right part. Okay, we got this piece here. It's a bearing race. You want to make sure it's smooth and no pitting or anything majorly wrong going with it. It's like any bearing surface. If it's bad, replace it. Looks okay. Grease on there, fresh grease. There we go. Okay. Now if you want to put sealer on the outside of that bearing clutch basket to seal up the outside of the seal, then you're going to pack it in there like it was before and it can get down to the bearing. That's why I don't like doing stuff like that. You only do it if you have to. Now these are rubber coated seals, you shouldn't have to do stuff like that. Should be able to just put that thing in there and go right in there. Okay, I'm going to go get my press. I'm going to press on a little bit. Hopefully it all goes in nice and smooth. So we're going to have to push on the outside of this basket here or on the inside of this right here. To, you want to be pushing on the ratchet mechanism, obviously. Okay, I'm going to go press it together. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Okay, seal's in there. It's flush. You can see how there's a gap behind the seal now to the bearing race, so it's not pushed in all the way down like it was. So that'll allow the seal to do what it's supposed to do and actually work. When they're bottomed out, they don't work very well. Alright, so that should be good. So, get a little grease. Get the seal here. he had a pretty good press going in, so it's should be pretty good. I wouldn't expect it to leak there, but you never know. Okay, now we got this piece here. We're going to go ahead and put it on. Do a quick fit here. Make sure it goes on. Okay, it went in. Appears to be rotating freely. Appears to be going in deep enough. So that should work. That's all we can do. Make sure it works. Alright, so now we got all the parts ready to go together. Our chain we got here, our assembly. Go back a little bit. You wrap it around your clutch basket like this. Make sure it's all the way in the correct spot. Take your chain shoe assembly and lay it up in there. Then you go ahead and put your basket in there. Get that started, make sure you're on that, and then get your splines going over here. And that's how you do it, so it stays nice and square. You take this and put it on there. Stick it in there. Make sure your chain's in the right spot before you tighten any further. Actually, if you're off a notch, it'll not work very well. Okay, so we have a short bolt and a long bolt. Go ahead and put the one bolt in there just to hold it for now. It doesn't get jammed up on anything. Okay, here's our sprocket nut. You shouldn't have to use any Loctite on that if you tighten it down correctly. If you don't tighten it down very tight, you might have to do something. Make sure that's all the way in before you cram it all in sideways, and make sure this isn't jammed up here. Then just go down until it's good and tight. That's tight. Okay, that rotates. Okay, everything's working. Okay, so that's done, that ain't done, and that ain't done. Okay, that's in there. Okay, now we got to put this nut on here. We got this lock tab. And the lock tab you can't get to it because it'll be flat. If you bend these ears up a little bit right now, you can get to it a little bit easier. I get rid of my pliers, but we'll use these ones here. So you want to just grab a hold a little bit and just put a little bit of crease to it so you can get behind it with a screwdriver or something and try to bend it over. If you push too hard with the socket, it just flattens them right back down. So don't get too carried away. Okay, this is not in all the way, so you need to tap this in there. There it is. Then you put your lock tab in here. Like that. Okay, so I don't let me put anything on O-rings. I don't really like putting anything on the rings, but I'm going to go ahead and goop this up because I'm sure that's a place that's going to probably be an issue. Maybe. So I'm going to do it. Now if the sealer gets further in there, it's not going to hurt anything because it just goes under threads. So that's another reason I'm not really too concerned about doing it. But like in the bearing net, we put that seal. I would not put anything around that seal because it would go right in the bearing. Make the bearing not work and you have a lot of problems. So you always got to look at what happens if you do something. So you're free to do what you want, but you might not like the consequences if you do some stuff. Okay. Okay, one little more dab in there. We'll be all the way around. So I'm not using a lot of sealer here. Don't need a lot of sealer. Just want to get the O-ring completely coated, nothing else. Okay. So now we just have a little bit right there is all we got. There's our nut. Now use the correct hand. Try not to wipe the sealer off with the threads as you put it on. Easier said than done. I probably will not be perfect. Wasn't too bad. Nut doesn't want to go on as usual. There it goes. Found the sweet spot. See, it's going over the O-ring nice and freely, which is good. Well, good and bad. Good, we're not cutting the O-ring. Bad, there might not be too much tension on it, but that's why I put the secondary sealer on it. Okay, now we're going to tighten this down. Once again, hold on, don't let go. It'll bite you. Try not to push in while they're doing that so I don't flatten that lock out. Looks good. All that looks good. We have a nice little lip of O-rings of sealer all the way around that. So I'm not going to take that off. You can see how the lock tab is where I can get to it. So stick it right in there like this. Give it a quick jerk. That brings it down. And put the channel lock on it to bring it to rest away. Takes. Okay, that works good. Kicker's engaging. Kicker's all the way on right now. It doesn't work when I'm holding the rod, see? Alright. So the grease on the ratchet mechanism while you're rotating it will actually turn and engage the kicker and then engage it and rotates around. That's what happens. That's how you know you're tying up a kicker mechanism. The kicker over there will start flopping back and forth, and then when it rotates down on you, you know you seized your gears up in there. Not good. Okay, so now what else we're going to do is do our adjustment here. I just use red on these because I don't want them unscrewing. We got a mechanical lock tab on there, lock washer, and we got to have red Loctite. Usually Loctite only works once, and after that it's got oil on it, doesn't work anymore, so that's why we got the mechanical backup on it. Because this is going to have to be adjusted again as the shoe wears. So hopefully the Loctite will stay in the threads a little bit and at least take the gap up a little bit in there, but it doesn't really work with oil on it. So do what we gotta do. Okay. Now the next rotation, this motor is going this way. The shoe can go either direction like this, back and forth. Push it that way when you tighten it down, that way it won't. If you tighten it going forward, eventually it will pull backwards on you. It can jam in, or it'll change your adjustment. So I always push it all the way to the back before I do anything. So go ahead and shove it all the way up. Give yourself just a little bit of clearance there. Now this is a brand new shoe, so it is going to wear pretty quickly. And you will have to take all this apart to do the adjustment again. You have to pull the little cover off again, so it's kind of a pain. Okay, we have a little bit of clearance. Now we want to see where the tight spot is at. See if it has a tight spot. See, I got loose right there. See, that's tight right there. That's our tight spot. There's one on the other side too. got loose there. See how the chain goes up? That means your tight spot. So that's our tight spot there. Okay, that's good enough for now. I'm going to tighten it up. Normally I use a zip gun on this stuff, but not very many threads on this thing. Okay, as you tighten things, things move. They're still good. Okay, let's see if I can strip it. Kind of mushy. That one's better. That one's getting better. That thin ass plate's just kind of moving around as I torque it. Okay, there's our adjustment right now. See it loosen up just a little bit. This shoe will bend down if you do a deceleration. If you do downshifting, power downshifting, it'll bend it right down. It'll slide all the way down too. If there's no support on this thing, it's going to bend. Piece of crap. Okay. Now as this wears, this will get looser. You have to come back in here and readjust it. The nylon's going to get tracking down there from the lengths of the chain, and then when the rollers finally get good dig in, then it'll stabilize for a while at that point. That's what you're looking for. Initially it's going to have a lot of wear though, so that's why you don't want to put them in super loose, because this is going to double on you probably in 20-30 miles. So we try to make it so you can at least get to like your break-in period done, so 300 to 500 miles before you have to go in there and clean the oil out. Drain the primary, get all the junk out of here, and readjust the chain if it needs it, or wait to 1,000 miles and do it then. So that's why you got to pre-adjust it. Now when you put your clutch in here, this might change over here. We don't know. We have to figure that out. Okay, so we got that tight, lock tab, that's tight, no tab, that's Loctited and adjusted. So this still rotates like it's supposed to. Make sure it goes around, no problem. Goes around fine, go the correct direction. Kicker's staying where it's supposed to right now. Good. That's all good. And so we'll check the kicker one more time just to make sure. Yep. Kicker's working. Everything's looking good so far. Alright, we're getting closer. There you go. Alright, let me get it cleaned up. We'll be right back.